Hi there! The following video has been written and created without the use of AI. Please support your human content creators by liking the video and commenting something down below. I promise I read every single comment that you write me. And leave a sub if you enjoy it. Thank you! The Rainbow Room was a smallish dome-shaped hall. Not tall enough to echo, but just wide enough to feel like you'd stepped outside of something. The air was soft here, thick but not heavy. It smelled faintly of sugarless candy and cool stone. The ceiling arced overhead like a closed sky. It shimmered, shifted, moved like the surface of a lake catching moonlight. Ever so often, something invisible would stir the surface, and all the colors of the visible spectrum would ripple through it. A prism dream. A silent kaleidoscope with no mechanism. There were no windows. Only one door. It had soft padded walls, upholstered in an old velvet you couldn't quite name the color of. Pale pink, perhaps. Or maybe lavender washed out by time. Lights were embedded around the base of the dome, not bright, but enough, like bioluminescent mushrooms that had learned to hum instead of glow. There were cushions here, piled in corners, thrown like fallen clouds in indigo and muted gold. Here you could lie down and never want to get back up. The floor dipped ever so slightly in the center, just enough to cradle if you sat still, just enough to make standing feel a little bit like floating. Sometimes, when it was very quiet, the ceiling made a sound like distant bells heard beneath water, and the room would tilt, not physically, but emotionally. Like, in of itself, it was remembering something from a long time ago. It was peaceful here, as peaceful as things got in the digital circus, which wasn't peace exactly, but it was close enough. It was here where you spent most of your time, away from the others, but just like everywhere else, this place wasn't safe from Cain. Your quiet, absent-minded staring was constantly, at least that's how it felt, interrupted by the ringmaster of the circus, who freely teleported you around to participate in adventures, though there was a deeper reason as to why you went here. Inside the digital circus, you had become Tibble. Yeah, like everyone else, it was randomly generated. At least it sounded cute. You were a humanoid with a translucent body like you were made out of glass or ice. 5 digits on each hand, and your feet were toeless slaps. In a way, you looked like an expensive store mannequin, and your wardrobe reflected that. Pun not intended. Every day, when the circus came to life, the clothes on you changed. You had no influence over what you wore. At the moment, it was a maid dress that looked way too eerily similar to the one the others made Jax wear the other day during a compilation of adventures. Your face was entirely featureless, with the exception of a fully functioning mouth that, even though it appeared like glass, was fully capable of movement, like it was just regular skin and muscle. Heck, you didn't even know how you could see. It was as if your eyes were invisible. You could even close them. You had quickly come to the realization to better not ask or think too much about it. You were peacefully lying on one of the countless cushions inside of the Rainbow Room, arms held up as you watched your body reflect the lights of the room. It was the closest thing to fun you could have in the little circus, aside from the once-in-a-blue-moon fun adventure. You actually really liked the Haunted Mansion one, and didn't mind Jax's poaching adventure. That is, if the others didn't instantly want to skip it. To the chagrin of the others, who immediately dogpiled you for wanting to stay in the savannah, hunted by a hyper-violent rabbit with a shotgun, instead of instantly leaving it. The rainbow room painted you like a prism sculpture left out in the rain. One moment your fingers glowed green, then gold, then a rich buttery pink that made you feel warm. You turned your wrist slowly, not really because you needed to, but because the slow shifting was satisfying. The way light moved through you, not around. Like you weren't really there. Like you were part of the room's memory, not its present. Above, the ceiling shimmered. Something invisible rolled through it like a fish beneath the surface of a pond. The ripple hitting you a moment later. You didn't move, but you felt it. Like soft static in your chest. And the colors followed. Bright, slow, lazy arcs that landed on your legs and bent like they were being absorbed. You held your hand to your chest. You could see a palm pass through the ghost of your ribs, like tracing light on a glass of water. You didn't mind. It wasn't like anyone else was in here. And even if they were, so what? They're probably just as broken as you. Everyone here was a little bent, a little cracked, digitally or otherwise. You exhaled, not because you needed to breathe, but because the act of breathing felt right and familiar. Above you the ceiling flashed, a perfect arc of green and blue and then white. And all of it sank into you softly, like glass being kissed by the sun. You liked it here. It felt like being noticed by something greater, by something that didn't expect anything back. You shut your imaginary eyes to block out the wonderful overload of the senses for but a fleeting moment, when suddenly your ears twitched. The door to the rainbow room was opened. "Ah, knew you'd be here, Tibble." Tibble. Jack's cheeky voice came. You raised your body, looking at the grinning Jax. The bunny man was hanging onto the doorframe with his left hand, while the rest of him was just leaning forward as far as he could, almost as if he actually stepped into the rainbow room, he'd catch fire. "So, hey, I had this burning question ever since a couple days ago that just wouldn't leave my mind." "Are the others ignoring you again?" He blinked. I mean, I'm making it pretty hard to be ignored. You held Tito to the side. That was comment enough. "Okay, fine. They all locked themselves into their rooms, and I don't want to risk Ragatha taking my copies again." "You're bored. I get it." "Immensely," he hissed. "Also, that dress looks really tight on you." A blue shine appeared on your featureless face. This was how you blushed. "I mean, it certainly looks better on you than it did on me," he growled. "You're being strangely nice." Jack scoffed. "I can just respect when someone actually gives a crap about what I think." The purple rabbit paused and then deeply sighed. "Not to mention, you are the only one not Not to mention, you are the only one not voting to skip my adventure." You smirked. "It was nice being a lion," you commented, and he blinked. "What are you talking about?" "What? You didn't spot me?" "Let's just say I was closer than you thought." He gulped, but not because he was scared or horrified, but the way you said that was kinda hot. "Oh, really?" He finally took a step inside. "Tell me more, Tibble." "It's Tibble." Smugly, he jumped on one of the cushions opposite to you. His legs spread as far as he could, to take up as much space as possible. Honestly, there wasn't much more to say, but considering the look on his face, you smirked, deciding to repeat what you just said, but more detailed. "When we were pulled out of the circus, dripping wet from our ocean adventure, Kane threw us into new animal bodies. Remember, Gangle was a rhino, Zubel a flamingo. Leaning forward, you purred. Pomni was a peacock. You appeared right next to me. But notice the common thing here? They were all herbivores. Or birds. Something easy to poach for you. Except for me. I was a lioness. A translucent one at that. Probably really difficult to spot in the brush. You tilted your head, studying his expression. He was looking giddy. And? You smacked your lips. I wasn't sure what this was about until this hunger came over me. Carnal, violent bloodlust. It was exhilarating. Really, my heart was beating faster. So, tell me, Jax, this wasn't coincidence, was it? You gave me this body on purpose. His teeth flashed. Well, let's just say I had a little too much fun writing that suggestion. You know, Kane works better when you're more detailed in what you want. But yeah, I gave you that line, buddy. He stretched himself. Out of all these side characters here, you at least don't interrupt my fun. I find that very pragmatic, and giving you a fighting chance was my way of rewarding that. I mean, we can't physically be hurt. You said, shrugging. We can't die. Hell, even Gangle's dumb mask repairs itself. There's no point in stopping anyone's fun, really. Though, I suppose it would help if there were more people in the circus so Kane would let us choose the adventures. Also, some immersion is sometimes appreciated. Your mind drifted for a moment as you thought of more details. But then, you returned to the point at hand. I'm the type of person who immerses herself in her character. You made me a lion, so I wanted to be a lion. Do lion things. Like kill. He chuckled, and then you came closer, mimicking your hunting, down on all fours. I swayed left to right like this, as you bit into Gangle's tape. My vision was focused entirely on you. The thought of my teeth sinking into your flesh was the only thing on my mind. You were now inches away from his outstretched legs. You curled your back as if ready to pounce, while his square-shaped pupils widened with pure entertainment. And then you stood up, casually crossing your arms. Well, and then we were voted into the White House. Bleep tease. Beep tease, he chuckled. What tease? He bit his lower lip. Your tease, alright. Crawling forward in that outfit on all fours while talking about eating my meat? You smirked. Jax, I don't mind your existence, but do you really take me for a digital beep? He chuckled. You tell me, you're still wearing that fit. Jax, you know I can't choose what I wear, right? Now his face came closer to yours. You may not choose what to wear, but you choose to wear it regardless. That was such a blatant attempt at getting you out of your dress that the audacity alone, you respected. You crossed your arms again, just below your chest. You're thinking about it? Come on, let me see them glass peepees. You gripped the hem of your dress without flinching, and with a quick flourish, you pulled it off. For a moment he was blinded by the artistic reflections of your glass body, rainbows dancing over him until finally his eyes got used to the prism of your body. Red light spilled across your collarbone, orange pooled against your stomach like sunset syrup, Then green, pure, vivid, sacred, slid across your chest over the curves beneath your crossed arms. And Jack's breath hitched. He didn't expect you to actually do it. In the way of the ceiling, held still for just a second longer than usual. The air was quiet. And then the bunny leaned closer, his cocky grin flickering into something more thoughtful, more intent. His hands hovered a moment before daring to touch you, fingertips grazing your arms like he thought you might vanish. He whispered, "Man, you're unreal." You tilted your head again. His reflection danced in your body like a funhouse ghost, broken and then reassembled. You stepped forward. Your body shimmered like someone had poured oil all over a diamond. Jax watched every movement, mesmerized. Your translucent thighs passed through a ripple of indigo, casting a soft blur across his lap. "You're staring," you said softly. "I'm admiring," he purred. You crouched down in front of him, knees brushing velvet cushions, the folds of your skirt shifting like petals. "I'd love you to take that off too." The light turned amber behind you. It licked the back of your legs and shot through your core, glowing you from the inside out. Jack's ears flicked upward. He leaned in. "God, you look like something a god might dream about." Did I seriously just say that? Man, I'm really not a compliment person, aren't I? You touched his cheek. He was absolutely adorable. Your fingers were cool, your skin like chilled glass, warmed by sunbeams. It made his eyes flutter. You could see him in your reflection, twice, then in each knuckle. Your hand trailed down his chest. He caught your wrist, held it there. Not tight, just there. "You sure about this?" he asked, voice lower than normal. Much less cocky. More real. You leaned in, your mouth brushing his long ear. Your breath sounded like wind inside of a crystal. "Do I look like I do things I'm not sure of?" He grinned. "Yeah, I guess not." The two of you fell backward into the cushions, laughing, quiet, breathy, not loud enough to wake the sleeping room. Jax's arms wrapped around you like he was finally holding something he'd been chasing for ages. Your glass body pressed against his fur, cool against heat, slick against soft. Every inch of you lit up in his embrace, colors refracting wildly now, shifting with every heartbeat. Every shift, every breathless move made you against one another. Even the ceiling seemed to pulse, soft bell tones echoing overhead, barely audible, but enough. You moved slowly. He did too. It was a language of almost stillness and suggestion, of closeness made whole. No words now, just the gentle sound of fingers tracing panes of light, of a heartbeat felt through glass, of a world momentarily forgotten outside the curve of the dome, and your own body. No jokes, just teasing, just touching. You just held him tighter as the rainbow room shimmered overhead. You didn't need to speak, neither of you did. Instead, you leaned in, slowly, smoothly, like melting ice sliding toward warmth. Your translucent face reflected the soft rainbow wash of the ceiling. Opalescent colors danced across your shoulders, your arms, your thighs. Your refracting chest. Like art, like something forbidden carved into glass and ice. Jax's grin faltered for just a second as his mouth parted. You saw him take in your chest, your ribs behind it faintly visible, lit by the dome's breath, and your arms uncrossed. You brought your hand to his cheek, cool fingers delicate but firm. He leaned into it more than you expected. His fur didn't resist. He was warm. "You really think I don't know what you're doing?" you whispered, his ears twitching. "I was kinda hoping you did," he muttered. You turned your head, slipped your fingers from his cheek down to his neck. A slow drag, glass over velvet. He shivered, and you knew it. It wasn't just for show. Your other hand found his chest, rested there, pinched a little, then slid lower, not too far, just enough. The rainbow light caught one of the angles of your glass's wrist, like moonlight and wine. Jax watched your hand move, watched you watching him. He was still grinning, but it had changed. It was less sharp, more hungry. You leaned closer, your torso brushing his. He inhaled sharply through his teeth when your hips touched his lap, glass against cloth, weightless but unmistakable. Your knees straddling the edge of the cushion. Not quite in his lap just yet, but almost. The dome above flared. An arc of honey gold washed over your back. His hands moved up, slowly testing, squeezing, palming your chest like you'd vanish if he went too fast. But he couldn't help himself. He squeezed as tightly as he could. You groaned. You liked it. You didn't stop him. Instead, you pressed in, just enough for him to feel the drag of your curves against his hips, the low glide of your torso as you tilted your chest towards his face. You reached again, and you caught his wrists, held them, hard enough to make him look up at you, hard enough to make him freeze. "Jax, are you still bored?" You purred. He shook his head wordless. "Good. Let's keep going." You released his wrists, let them fall against your waist, and leaned in, letting your chest brush his lips. Hey, you reached the end of the video. That makes you part of an exclusive club. Our secret password for this month is Shut Up, Meg. Leave it in the comments below to tell fellow members you watched the video until the very end. Lastly, before we say goodbye, I want to take the opportunity and thank my channel members: Mimi Mumu, Adrijama, Jaws, Malofia, Mexicat, Allison Watkins, Mystic Jade 111, Joanna Moretti, Twilight Mia, Angry Boxman, and Anonymous Weep. Thank you for being darling stewards, and of course a big thank you to all the other channel members. It's you who keep me alive. Thank you, and goodbye.